The Corps of Engineers. Engineers must be oriented and adapted to a multitude of tasks.
The Army Corps of Engineers is raising the dam by 8 meters.
U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers lays out their response plan.
We provide infrastructure assessment, temporary roofing, temporary emergency power. We help with debris assessment and removal operations. We also work with temporary housing.
And he'll tell you there's no end to the types of services the engineers provide.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Building Strong Buffalo podcast. This is the place to get to know the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Buffalo District, our people, and our stories. My name is Jess Levenson, your host and public affairs specialist with the district. Today I'm in the field with an engineer of the Buffalo District floating plant, Derek Meyers. We're at the Great Lakes Shipyard in Cleveland, Ohio on a cold February day, and it's an honor to get an inside look at the plant, also known as the Swiss Army knife of Lake Erie, and its operations and maintenance. So let's jump right into it. Derek, how is it going today? Thank you so much for showing me around and letting me be there during the maintenance work and inspection. So just checking in, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's good having you out. Good to see everybody and go around and check out the boats.
Cool. So you're an engineer with the plant, and just for everyone who is not intimately familiar with what all that means, can you just describe what the floating plant is and what your team's mission is? Fill any blanks that I left out.
Well, we're out there to repair most of the breakwaters out, from Buffalo to Toledo, pretty much. If there's any strikes out there or any boats have problems, we're always out there to help out and do whatever we can to make the situation better.
Nice. Yeah, it's an important job, and I don't feel like many people know that you guys are doing that kind of work, so it's appreciated.
Thank you.
So what maintenance does the floating plant need right now? What are the vessels that are being maintained? Why does it need it? What kind of beating does all the machines take during the working season, and how often does this need maintenance?
I mean, just the general scope of the work is kind of hard on our machinery, so most of it needs attention, throughout the whole year. Obviously, in our slow times, we like to complete bigger repairs, as needed. But we just try to keep it together. It's a little bit of an older fleet, and always, fixing and maintaining something that needs attention.
And I saw that the Donlin, right?
So, yeah.
The tug, the Donlin,
Mm-hmm.
that was built in 99,
Mm-hmm.
and I forget when the Shara was built. That's the other tug.
Yeah, I believe it was somewhere in the 60s.
Yeah, so are there differences between what the Donlin needs after a working season and what the Shara needs?
Yeah, I mean, they're two completely different boats. One's larger, one's smaller. One pushes more work with our barge and everything and the crane. So there is differences in maintenance on both of them, but there's still general maintenance just to keep the things running and maintain that we don't have any breakdowns.
Yeah. And so the one that pushes more, is that the newer one?
No, the Shiraz our bigger boat,
Oh, okay.
and it's our main pusher, pushing the Derek boat around and any barges and barges loaded with stone or whatever we need.
Mm-hmm. Do you like one more than the other?
I mean, I like working on the Shiraz. I mean, it's more intense. There's more moving parts. It just keeps your attention a little better.
Yeah. The Shiraz definitely had also, I think, more of a homier feel,
Mm-hmm.
because that one was kind of cramped.
Yeah, it's more like a little apartment. We got our desks and everything, and it's kind of like a little office on the water.
Yeah. Awesome. How does it feel working on one of the tugs after it's been taken care of, fixed up a bit, versus the last day of a working season when you can really feel all the wear and tear on it?
I mean, it's nice to know you have peace of mind going into next season. Hopefully not going to have a major breakdown, and kind of just makes you feel good that you kind of maintained it and that it's working off of what you did.
Yeah, needs that love.
Mm-hmm.
Are you glad to have this rest period just for yourself, like in between construction season, because I know you guys are working long hours, need to get it done while the weather's good. So what's it like for you right now?
It's a nice rest period, but we still have quite a bit of work to do. They had us working on some weirs in Toledo, I believe, and then they're going to have us possibly add another weir in Lorraine. And then we've just been doing general maintenance on all the boats, and just catching up on loose ends.
What are you looking forward to in the next construction season? I know some things are planned. Can you just list, some of the breakwaters or federal navigation structures that you'll be working on?
I believe we'll be in Cleveland for the first part of the season, and then I believe we're going to Buffalo. I haven't gotten all the details yet, but that's kind of what I heard.
Yeah, I know the Buffalo structures are desperate need of repairs, so that's going to be a good project. So when did you start working for the district, and what did you do before then? I think, if I remember correctly, you were working for yourself and your brother in private industry?
Yes, I was. I was doing commercial maintenance work on shopping centers and things like that. And I've started almost 2 years ago now. In October it'll be that I started with the Corps.
Nice. And so to me it seems like you're bridging the gap, because I know some guys are really at the end of their careers, and they've been working a long time, and then I know there's some newer people with the floating plant. So you might be one of the more veteran people soon.
Yeah, I guess by maybe a year or two, but yeah, it does seem like a lot of the older guys are retiring and doing whatever they want to do, and then the newer pack is kind of coming in.
And I know you're from around here, right? Are you from around Cleveland or somewhere else in Ohio?
I grew up outside of Cleveland, suburbs of Cleveland.
So is it nice to be working on things that you're familiar with in an area?
Yeah, yeah, I like being around, where I grew up and where I live now, pretty much. It's fun. It's fun.
Do you get satisfaction from knowing that your work is directly affecting the people that you grew up with and your neighborhoods and stuff?
Yeah, it's a good feeling.
Cool. And a few more questions. Before you started working for the district with the plant, what did you think it would be like, and what is it actually like? Are there any differences that you're surprised at?
Not so much surprised. It's just a different work setting, and it's nice though. It's a good place to work, and we have fun. Everybody gets along, and it's a good atmosphere.
Yeah. Having fun seems great, and I know I would have fun if I was, although I'm not in that kind of field working with my hands, but in the summer being out on the water and lifting these giant stones up and putting them down seems kind of cool.
It is neat. It's different.
Derek, what's the biggest challenge you faced with the floating plant? Is there a specific job or a specific kind of thing that you work on during a job that you're wow, that's a tough one?
Everything's kind of a challenge. You just have to adapt to, to be good at whatever your new challenge is. Nothing's really too hard. Just figuring out how to do it the right way.
Yeah. And is it you figure it out as a team, or is it one person is okay, I got it. I'll figure it out?
It's a combination of both. We figure it out as a team, and then someone comes up with a better idea, and if it works, it works.
Yeah. And last question, what is the best or proudest feeling you've had working in these 2 years with the floating plant?
I would say just being with a good group of guys that we all get along and we all work hard, and everybody's there to get the job done and work together, and it kind of just comes together.
I love it. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the podcast today, and look forward to seeing you again.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
All right, so I am here at the Cleveland area office, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, with Michael Lehmann, and you are the crane operator of the floating plant. And is there any other part of your title?
No, that's my title. I'm the crane operator for the Derek Meyers crane barge.
Awesome. Yeah, I've seen you at work. I remember over the summer in Connie Yacht.
Yeah.
And it was super cool because you let me like up there and I got to see you working at everything. And I think those stones were like pretty big. Those like 12, 20
Yeah,
tons.
well, I remember when you came out in Connie Yacht, we were doing a 12 to 15 ton stone, and you came up there taking the pictures, and I was showing you how to use all the handles, hand controls, and moving the stone from, which was tricky over there because they had the tracks. They had the tracks right there, and they had the light post, so you had to couldn't go past the tracks, and you couldn't pick up and hit that light, so that was a trickier one.
Yeah, it was an awesome experience, so thank you.
You're welcome.
And just before we turn this on, we were talking about all of the checklist things that go into what you do. Like, and I referred to Derek yesterday and the inspection that they were doing for the Donlin. And then you were talking about before you operate the crane, there's 30 minutes of
so my day starts out every day. I got to do about a 30-minute walkthrough and walk over prior to being ready to turnkey, ready to go. So the first thing I'll do is I'll go up and I'll check the engine oil in the crane to make sure we didn't lose any overnight for some reason, or it's not too high. So after I do that, check that box, we're good. I'll go up on top of the crane, and you have 2 drums of wire rope cable. They're going to be for boom up, boom down. You're going to have hoist up, and you got to make sure whatever you're using that day, you got to check the amount of wire you're going to be using. You can't have any splits, breaks, wear and tear. So you're going to check that. Once that box is checked, then we'll go down and we're able to turn the key, and you have a bunch of computer monitors in there that you have to make sure are reading and working from the boom tip height, and then we'll be lowering the block, lower the ball. You got to check latches, you got to check bolts in to make sure that everything's tight, ready to go. What you're hooking up with, the blue chain for the ball, you have to make sure that's in good condition, that's all locked up. So yeah, it's a good 30-minute process of checking all those boxes before we're crane ready to go.
Would you say you're a checklist kind of guy, or do you like to?
I think you have to be. I mean, for one, it's all about safety. So if you start skipping A, B, and C, and then something happens out in the middle of a pickup, and you didn't check that, well, you're going to get somebody hurt, and it's a lot of weight that we're picking up.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you have to do the checklist.
And I was talking to Tim as well just a few minutes ago, and we were talking about how there's a balance between like checklists and also these newer tugs. Like they have these automated computers that can do almost everything, and he's like, I get why they're doing that, but also I feel like you need to know everything as well and like adapt on the fly. So
sure.
So like, how do you feel about adapting on the fly when you're operating the crane? Like, is that a common thing?
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta know how to work on the fly. Like you said, with all this stuff that is all computers, with all the new equipment, you got to be able to get around that. Yeah.
Is there a specific moment that pops to mind where you were like, oh, that's a story of like a time when something happened that I really needed to improv?
Oh, off the top of my head, while I'm operating the crane, no.
Okay.
I don't have anything where I had to change course. I mean, like I said, weather-related issues, so we haven't had any breakdowns mid-crane or cables or. I don't have anything. Mm-hmm. We're working on the fly right there.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your favorite part of the job? Like what really like gets you up in the morning and you're like, I'm excited to do this today?
Yeah, honestly is running the crane. When you're making every move, I'm picking up from the wall, putting it out in the water. So while you're constantly doing that, it's kind of a good sense of accomplishment. You feel like, okay, we assisted in building that wall. I'm up there doing the controls, and it's really cool. You see the beginning product of there is no wall, and then within 2 months, you built a 200-foot section that comes out 10 feet, 6 feet high. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and you're doing that, what, like at least 4 or 5 times in a season, I assume.
Location-wise?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, last year we did Cleveland, Conneaut, and Fairport. So this year I think we're going to be doing Cleveland, Buffalo, and Ashtabula. Mm-hmm. So I haven't seen those harbors yet, but it's going to be very, very similar projects.
Yeah, and
Cool.
In Buffalo, I know, like, they've been looking forward to that because of all these storms that have hit the past 2 years, and those structures are just getting pounded.
Sure. I heard the same thing, but like I said, I haven't been up there to see it. I don't know what the project is, but we have a concrete pump and a compressor that we have geared up for this off season to get ready for it. So I think we're gonna be doing some shot creek. So we'll be putting the stone down, and then I believe you get a concrete truck to come over to the concrete pump, and you have a bunch of hoses, and you're just gonna tie that all together with a bunch of concrete.
Is that a new thing? I haven't seen.
They used to do it, if I'm not mistaken, 5 years ago they were doing it for a project. We haven't used it since I've been here, so that's about all the information I know on that.
What does that do? Does it just help everything stay together?
Yeah. Yep. So once that concrete goes all over the top of it, it's going to lock it in. But once again, I haven't personally experienced it. It's just from hearsay. So looking forward to that project.
Brian, you're hearing this.
Yeah, right. So I'm looking forward to that project. But I heard it's a lot of work. It's hard work.
Okay. Yeah.
So it'll be good.
I know you guys are up to the task.
Yeah.
It's hard work.
Yeah. We'll get it done.
And so I also know that you were started with the Corps or something, and then you left and you came back. And so, like, how long have you been with the Corps overall, and like also in this other stint recently?
So I started with the Corps in 2012 for a temporary hire, which I was here for 2 months, and then I applied for the full-time position. But something happened where it had to be a full-time employee to get the job, not a temp. So I didn't qualify for that. And then when the job reopened in 2019, I came back aboard and I got the job. So all in all, less than 2 years with the Corps.
Yeah. Same with Derek.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a few other new people. I'm blanking on their names. I know Bernadette.
Yeah, you have Bernadette and Dylan. They both started in the summer, so they're just shy of a year.
Yeah, and Tony, and also I forget.
Tony and Ray.
Tony just got his commander's coin from General Whittle.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Well earned. But those guys are so much experience who. Their plans right now, I've heard, are,
there's probably their final year. I mean, you have Tony, who's 30 years in. You've raised 25 years in. So those guys, they've put their time in. I think they're ready to hang it up.
And so that leaves, you and Derek are going to be like senior.
Yeah, right.
Guys, and you've been there for 2 years. So like, how does that feel? Of like, what's coming next?
Well, you'll still have Captain Tim here. So he's still going to be running the post, and then you got Jason. Jason's 4 or 5 years in, and then you're going to have Derek and I, 2 guys that are under 2 years in, and we're going to follow Jason's lead. We're going to follow Tim's lead, and then as far as who's on the Derek boat, we're just going to have to bring new guys in and kind of show them the way we do things. So
do you guys pick it up fast?
Yeah, I think you have to. When you're working on the fly, you only have so many clock hours, 10-hour days, so you got to just go.
So Tim is the captain, and then you have your whole team. And for me, as someone who works in an office and I'm just typing on a computer, like, what's the dynamic of like the teamwork and like Tim being the quote unquote manager?
Whatever Tim wants to do that day, whatever he says, that's the way it's going to be done. And he's the guy. So anything he wants to do, we follow the lead. If he's got a direction he wants to do that job, we'll do it that way. There's nobody's arguing back. They want to do it this way or that way. It's, Tim's been around long enough where he knows how to get the job done correctly and safely. So, all of us younger guys that are new to the Corps, we're going to absolutely follow the way he does it because it's worked for so long.
Yeah. Do you feel like it's better, especially working on the water in dangerous situations, like we want a direct guy. We need an assertive direction to go in.
You have to have somebody that's gonna take control and oversee everybody, but at the same time everybody needs to know, and he's taught us all that you have to know, your place as well. You need to know, life jackets, hard hats, safety. You're on moving vessels. You're working in water with heavy equipment and cranes and 12, 15-ton boulders. So, he knows what he's talking about. So he only has to tell you really once, and then you're always aware. It's like, okay, I know where I'm at in this situation. So you just got to follow those guidelines.
Yeah.
And it works. Everybody comes back, knock on wood, nice and safe, and that's it.
Yeah, and like he said, not only kind of that overt danger, but also you guys don't have a case of COVID, and that's awesome. And this new emphasis on hygiene safety is. Yeah, you guys seem to be doing a great job.
Yeah, we have all the cleaning supplies, and we're constantly cleaning the vessel. Washing hands, obviously, I think as long as we've all been around, you're constantly washing your hands. So it's just good practice, good hygiene, and luckily nobody's been sick. As when we all leave work, we don't know where anybody goes. Mm-hmm. Some people just go home. Some people might go hang out with friends and family, but I don't think we have been. I think everybody just goes home, takes care of what they have to do, keep everybody thinking of everybody else, and keeping a safe environment.
Mm-hmm. Are you from this area, like Cleveland or Ohio?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Bay Village, Ohio, so always been in Cleveland. Bay Village is like 15 minutes from here.
Isn't that where Tim and Derek live?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is so, I was like, Derek, did you, when you applied for the job and stuff, were you surprised that Tim was also from there?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, because I knew Tim. I'd seen him around.
Right.
And people know each other in that place.
Yeah.
So what are you guys just taking people from Bay? Is that the pond?
It's just a coincidence, I guess. It just happened to be that way. But I don't live in Bay anymore, but I live in Lakewood, which is 10 minutes from there. 10 minutes from here.
There's got to be something about Bay Village, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I guess produces good working people.
Yeah.
We're here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So did you know them at all before?
Actually, when I worked with my dad, we did some work for Derek. Derek, he used to have his own concrete company. I don't know if he told you that.
He did, yeah.
So we've crossed paths and did some work for him there. And then, my parents, they knew Tim a little bit prior to me getting on here in 2012.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I have two final questions, and you can answer one or both.
Okay.
What did you think working on the floating plant would be like before you got on board, and what was it actually like? And you can refer to the time when you temped or your full time, and then also, how have you seen things change since you started? Have you seen any big changes in terms of the operations, or even on how, the larger picture of how our navigation structure is changing on the Great Lakes, and you see, our job is even more relevant today than when I started?
Yeah. When I first found out about the job, and I knew about the floating plant, I really had no idea what to expect. I knew it was a tugboat, a crane barge, and you go out and set stone on the wall. Now in 2012, the stone that they were setting on the wall was different than what we're using now. You had chains, and you had to hook the stone up, and you had toes, caps, and slopes. So you had to set those strategically to build the wall, which was a lot of hard work. You had to go out into the water. You had to get it all leveled off. You had a bunch of little filler stone that you would fill the wall with, and then you would continue to build from there. But that's changed now that we're just using this big quarry stone, big rock, boulders, I should say, and we're taking them and feeling, placing it, out in the water to build the walls. So that's definitely changed the style of stone. That's all I got, really.
Well, Michael, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today. I really appreciate everything you guys are doing, and I hope more people can learn from this and are interested in the work you're doing.
Yeah, thank you much for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.